What up? It's your boy, the Incredible, and as you can tell from my facial expression, there's a lot going on. I just watched Fire Force episode 20, and this is my discussion slash review. Okay, let's get it, man. Dude, there was a lot of stuff going on in this episode, and I am so... Boy, I'm so in love. I'm just gonna be real. You know, Fire Force has always had its little moments here and there. In the last week with the fight with Tamaki, it pissed me off a little bit. Like, you know, like it was so serious and then they had to throw in the comedy moment. There's nothing wrong with comedy, and I love good comedy, and I love funny moments. And Fire Force, the funny moments were on point this episode, but I just felt like at that moment, Tamaki needed a serious moment, and she didn't have to have the lucky lechery thing. She just didn't really need it. But this episode came in, and it just blew last week's episode out of the water, and it was just that good. Okay, like I called it, I knew the lieutenant was going to have a fight. I wasn't sure how they were going to handle the Arthur thing. I didn't know if he was going to be by himself, but it was nice to see him come in at the last minute and help the lieutenant and save the lieutenant. And they threw Shinra in there to give him just like a little miniature fight. He saved Victor Licht, and I knew that somebody was going to save Licht. I just felt like he would have bumped into somebody and needed help. I thought it would have been the lieutenant, but they changed it around and made it Shinra, and Arthur helped the lieutenant. So then we also have Tamaki and the sister walking around, trying to find their way, and then they bump into Maki, and so their whole little experience is happy and go lucky and saved. And then we have this is when it got interesting, and I'm gonna go back and talk about everything else that I really loved about the lieutenant, Arthur, and everything else. We see Captain Obi and Vulcan walking down through the tunnels and everything as well, where the train station, the subway station and everything. So they're coming and they're walking, and they come into Lisa and Dr. Giovanni. Now, this whole time, okay, we knew that Lisa had betrayed Vulcan and she was working with the white clad people, but she really was she was a triple agent, portraying someone else, working with Dr. Giovanni. So it was a bunch of confusing stuff with that. But we now know that she was working with Dr. Giovanni from the jump, and her goal was to infiltrate Vulcan's little lab and probably find everything out she could about the little big fire mechanism that's running the whole town. So now we knew that she was actually working with the white clad people from jump, and her name was Filler, however you want to say it. Now, then we see Vulcan telling her that, wow, you look good in anything. And, he was just so happy to see her. And the reason that he put on the turncoat and joined the 8th Company, even though he hates the Fire Force, is for her. He wanted to save her. He wanted to find her. And that was the reason he put on the turncoat and joined the 8th Company. Now, then we have Dr. Giovanni and Lisa going into this whole thing about the Adolabers wanting Shinra. And Dr. Giovanni tells us that, my bad, thought I see something, tells us that the evangelist knows all. She knows what the Adolabers is. She knows what happened to the old world. She knows what's happening to the world now. She knows what's the deal with the problem with the bugs. She knows why people are turning into infernos right off rip. That's like the spontaneous combustion. The evangelist knows everything. Now I feel like she may, or he, or whatever, does know everything, or they could also kind of be involved with everything, just like how they are now. Or it could be the Hajima people that could be turning people. There's so much going on. Then we have Dr. Giovanni kind of explaining everything and telling Obi, well, I'm not telling you nothing. So there's that. But I did love the art style that they had with Giovanni talking to Obi at the end with the real creepy, eerie art style and motion and everything. It was so nice how it played out, and it felt real good. And it made Dr. Giovanni seem more evil than what he really was. I mean, we know he's a bad guy and a bad character, and I feel like we can't trust the evangelist at all. Let's just be real. But the art style made it so great. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about the lieutenant and Arrow's fight, and then Arthur coming in to help the lieutenant at the end. Now, this was phenomenal, man. Last week with Maki was just such a wonderful excitement and joyful feeling to see Maki go ham and beat this dude like it was nothing, and see the miniature fight with Tamaki where she was just going ham, and then all of a sudden they got to the lucky lechery thing. But this episode with the lieutenant, we see the lieutenant coming in, and let's be real, the animation this whole episode was fantastic. fantastic, man. I loved every single. The smoke looked so good. The smoke looked real. I don't care what anybody says. The smoke was real smoke. I don't care. You can't tell me it was computer generated. I know it was computer generated, but at the same time, it wasn't. They put real smoke on the camera somehow and just worked everything because the smoke was just that phenomenal, man. It looked that good to me. But then we get into the detail, and I love having seen the lieutenant in the subway and in Arrow, how it was so dark around them and them using their powers or the smoke to illuminate them, and that's what showed them where we could see them, because any other way it would have just been completely dark. And seeing them just illuminated by the smoke and their powers or their eyes glowing was so fantastic. Fire Force done a fantastic job, and this may be my favorite episode. I don't care what anybody says. All of the episodes that happened prior were good and great, especially the one with Ben and Maru and everything, and even last week's episode. But this episode may be my favorite. And, oh boy, it was so much. And Arrow, I mean, we know she's working with the Evangelist, but let's give her credit. It was so nice to see her in this scene and to see her using her powers against the Lieutenant. I mean, we didn't want her to win. I mean, we obviously wanted the Lieutenant to win. But to see it in that moment and to see her happening, using her powers against the Lieutenant and them having a full-fledged fight with their powers being pretty similar, like her just shooting arrows and him kind of just guiding his bullets, that was so nice, and it was such a nice comparison to have these two people with similar powers to combat each other. But then, dude, we find out, and I'm over here flabbergasted by how wonderful with the color scheme, the animation, and the score that was playing. Everything was. This episode was perfect for me, especially with the Lieutenant and Arthur's fight. But then we get to see them. They were going at it. Like for the longest part, she was mollywhopping the Lieutenant. Like she'd get a nick in or a nick there on his suit, and it obliterated his turncoat. Well, not on this side, but on this side, and like just from the connection of her even touching him, just the teensy bit, it obliterated that part of his turnout coat, and the Lieutenant was in one place and it really wasn't working, and then we see him running somewhere else trying to get closer because he was too far away to combat her, and he was even using a shotgun, but because of his powers, he can propulse it towards her with his pyrokinetic, but it really wasn't getting anywhere because he couldn't see her because it was so dark. But then we also see that we have the Mirage guy and the face swapping guy over in the corner waiting to attack the Lieutenant. And then we see the smoke, and I was just in love again. But we have their fight going on, and then we see the Lieutenant has something on his back marked with the 8th Company logo, and this has to be what Vulcan created for him. He opens this up, and it's like rifle connectors to the shotgun or the rifle or whatever. I think it's to the shotgun, but it's rifle connectors, and when he connected it and he shot it, it made such like a big old sonic boom and explosion and connection to everything, and he was tagging Arrow like boom, 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 boom. The Mirage guy and the other guy, they wanted to intervene and try to kill him before he could kill Arrow, but they could not. They was like, there's no way I'm intervening with this. Look at the force he's putting behind these shots. Boom, boom, boom. And every shot that he shot with the barrel, it exploded the barrel, and it was so nice because with the way they animated it, like when he shot it, it exploded. The heat was still there, and you could tell that it was warped out like that. And he just take it off and go grab another one. But then Arrow was throwing her arrows at him, and they were both throwing shots, and they were boom, 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 blowing each other up back and forth. And then in the last instant, when their fight was almost over, and the Lieutenant was like, "Well, he doesn't have any strength left, but he's going to try it one more time." He takes it, he does it, and this time he takes and shoots his bullet, and they zoomed in on the bullet and the fire just connecting and warping around. He takes his bullet, shoots at her, and takes the fire from her arrow, wraps it around his bullet, propels it. The colors start glowing with rainbow. It's this super big explosion. It starts connecting. It jumps 10 times faster, the rainbow colors and everything. It was just so fantastic with all the colors and everything. And then, boom, he connects, and dude, when he hits Arrow, you saw the big explosion, right? Then he connects to her. Her body's flying all back in the air. Her clothes are tattered and everything. It's just phenomenal, man. It was so epic. And I think Arrow got her just desserts. Let's just be real. She got what was coming to her. So then the two guys that were lingering in the corner come to attack the Lieutenant when he's gassed out. He doesn't have any strength left. Then they try to kill him. And he's like, "Well, I know who you guys are from the reports and everything." And they were like, "Well, yeah, that's cool, but you're dead." So they went to kill him, and he was like, shot the bullet, like proposed one bullet out of the last little bit of strength he had left, and he was like, "You missed. That was a mirage. You couldn't kill me." And he was like, I didn't miss. I wasn't aiming for you. He was aiming at the ceiling to release down Arthur. Then we have Arthur come in with his whole skit. And now see, this is what I enjoyed about Arthur this episode. And remember when he fought the same Mirage guy at Vulcan's place? They messed Arthur up. Yeah, Vulcan created the donkey for him, and it was like the whole Hi-Ho Silver thing. That was funny and everything, but at the same time, it was such a serious fight. I wanted Arthur to shine. But I was also mad when Shinra learned the propulsion technique. But, like I keep saying, he went and they showed us a flashback of him learning from Conroe and Benimaru, which is like the breathing, what he learned from Benimaru to detect someone, and the skills of the sword from Conroe. And this episode, Arthur shined. So I'm not even, the other episodes, they had me a little upset, but now I'm okay with it because they brought him back and they shined. He was like, I'm a knight samurai. I'm a samurai knight. No, that's not right. So this episode, he took everything that he learned from both of those guys and put it into use, and nothing the Mirage guy was doing was working because he was like, I don't feel life. I don't feel life in any of the. I can't talk. I'm so excited. This episode was just that good. I don't feel life in any of these attacks that are attacking me. So Arthur didn't move at all, and the dude was getting frustrated. So he decided not to kill Arthur anymore. He was going to kill the lieutenant. And in that moment, Arthur released like the RE or whatever Excalibur, and like it extended his sword like. It was just that good. It extended his sword. He cut through the pillar and cut dude in half. Like his body didn't fall in half, but like because of Arthur's sword is like the plasma, he like singed dude like from his arm all the way across his chest and everything. He singed all of that, man. It was just that bomb. And then we also have Shinra saving Victor Lick this episode, and him using the rapid kick. He decided to change it to the rapid kick because of Victor, and then he wanted to incorporate his name, his brother's name, in Man. So it was nice to see everything. Dude, I'm telling you, this episode was bomb, and this is definitely going down as one of my favorite episodes of Fire Force, man. This is your boy, The Incredible. Don't forget, I'm bumbling over my words. Don't forget to smash the like button, man, until you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe. But only if you really want to, man. Remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.